YouTube. Today it is Wednesday the 14th of June. Today I have done something that makes me an experienced same-day courier driver. It's in the realms of doing central London or going to Scotland and tramping. It's one of those things you've got to do if you're going to call yourself a same-day courier. I'll tell you about that later on. So, my day today. I had a job this morning going from Stamford to Great Shefford. So I left the house at 8:15 and I got to the location just before 9 o'clock, about 5 to 9, in time for the pickup at 9 o'clock. I picked up the items, then went on my way to Great Shefford. That journey took me quite a long time. It was about three hours or so by the time I got there. I got to the other end, quickly unloaded, and then I was looking for a job going somewhere, either towards let's tell you the stats for that tonight. So the stats for that one, I got £115 for it, 115, and the journey was on CX 109 miles, and it was for a small van. I got that unloaded and I was looking for jobs around the area where it was. The closest jobs were about 40 minutes away, half an hour away. The area I was in was sort of just south of Oxford. So I ended up, there's a few jobs at a place called Whitney, to the west of Oxford. And in the end I got a job from Whitney going to Stoke. There was a time delivery. I had to get there for 2:15 and I was 45 minutes away. So I left around about 1:30 and went straight to the pickup point, and the traffic was all winding lanes, so I was a little bit, perhaps 5 minutes later than 1:15, and then I realised when I got there that my trip to Stoke was going to be up the M5 and M6, which was congested according to my Google Maps, and my trip was going to take me about 3.5 hours. So I rang the shipper and said to them that at the moment my estimated time of arrival was going to be 5:30, but I would let them know if it was any later than that. So I picked up the box and then made my way to Stafford, or an ST postcode anyway, and I then got to my destination to drop off at about 5:45, about 5:45, just a tad before. It's the first time I've been to this place. It's a very large manufacturer, and I've been to other depots that are this place, and you've heard stories about the waiting times at them. I went to one not long ago at Roster, a different depot, and didn't wait anywhere near as long. But this was a different story. I have only just tipped, and the time now is 20 to 9. So I actually waited from 5:45 when I arrived, and got allowed in at 8:15. It was quite tiring after all that. That's a 2.5 hour wait, and that's what I mean. I've now joined the big boys when it comes to experiences as being a same-day courier. I've done my post 2 hour wait at this particular location. I did keep the shipper informed at every point about what's happening. Looking back on it, when I arrived, I parked up in a lorry park and I couldn't find the cabin at first. I found the cabin and came back to my van and waited. And it wasn't until an hour later that I realised it wasn't a lorry park, it was all the lorries in front of me waiting to go in before me that were already there. So that's why I was so late. I was behind lots of Arctics being unloaded. Yeah, so I did decide that I would ask for my usual waiting time rate. I checked on the system to make sure I had got the right number because I couldn't quite remember what it was. And I charge £10 per half an hour after the first half an hour. So, after half an hour, that's £10. After an hour, that's £20, etc., etc. So for 2.5 hours, I asked for £40, which I thought was very fair. Technically, a bit less than I should be asking for. And the very nice lady on the end of the line said that she couldn't go that high. And I really wasn't in the mood to have an argument. And she said she'd give me 35. And I said, that's fine. I just wanted to get away and get on with my day. So, the original price of the job was £100. And the original, the distance of the job for a small van job was 129 miles, and the reason why I went so low, because I usually try and get £1 a mile, is that I was stuck in the middle of nowhere. I had to get a job to get somewhere for tomorrow's pickups, and this is the job that came up, and I stand by it. My original price was £100 for 129 miles. I've ended up getting £135, but a large weight. I basically haven't done any more work after that. I won't get any more work, but to be fair, it's unlikely I would have got anything else anyway. So I suppose it's better that I've waited and got the extra money than got in and out straight away and not found a job and being frustrated with not getting a job. Okay, so that's it. 2 jobs for today, and I am now driving to a car park to tramp for the night using the Park for Night app. I'll go through the bus stats for today, and they are as follows. So when I finish driving, I will have worked today, although a lot of it was waiting, 12 and a half hours. My total mileage for today will be 291 miles, and my fuel costs for today will be £36.87, giving me my earnings, my gross earnings, with the 2 jobs, 115,115 from this morning and 135 from this afternoon. So that's £250, 250. Therefore, my net earnings after fuel for today comes to £213, 213. So I now need to find somewhere to tramp. Hopefully this car park that's been recommended is available. And then I'm going to be having to find a job for the morning. Really, ideally going to Stockport for my first pickup. But I would take one going from here, going down to Bristol or Bideford, because that's also another stuff I need to do. And obviously I'll get more money going down there. So we'll see how we get on. I'm getting to the point of the week now where I have less choices. I have to kind of go with whatever comes up to get to one of those 2 pickups now. I still have some choices about what I pick up, what I choose to do, and when I choose to do it, but I don't want to miss out on my pre-booked work. So I need to make sure I'm not too far away from either Stockport or Bristol area. Okay, before I bring this to an end, I wanted to talk about, as I always try and do, what I've learned doing this job. And I want to share today my strategy, for want of a better word, for when I really mess up. And it has happened. It's happened twice where I've really messed up. And I'm not going to go into the details right now because I am too tired to really explain them. But I'll summarise what they were. The first one was I arrived very late to a booking, and when the shipper called me I was confused and it was quite a terse initial reaction. And the second one was I strapped a load poorly and it had led to a very difficult afternoon for me and the shipper. In both situations, my strategy is to do all that I can so that at the end of the process the problem is solved and the shipper feels that they would recommend me to another person. So even if I've messed up, my aim from that point onwards is to do everything I can that's in my power to rectify the mistake, to apologise for the mistake, and to leave a good impression. And in both those examples that I gave, I was successful in managing to alleviate the anger that I received from the shipper at the start. And by the end of the day, at the end of the job, they both were happy to employ me again if so required. And I feel quite proud that despite making some big errors on those days, because of the choices I made after that, I was able to turn it around. Okay, and I'll give one little tip, which I shall try and do again if you're new. Today I was quite far from my second pickup. I was 45 minutes away. And so if you're a long way away or you're very close, my tip is to put an ETA into your bid. So drop down in the app and you can put down what your ETA is. I think by giving an ETA you increase your chances of giving a job. It might be because you put a high price in but you're very close, or you put a lower price in but because you're further away. So I think that because I put an ETA into today's 45 minutes, I don't think that's the reason I got the job, but I think if I'd turned up very late, let's say they wanted me to be there at 2 o'clock and I'd put my ETA at 45 minutes from 1:30, if they give me the job, I think I can justify that I gave them the information prior to them giving me to the job that I was going to be there at 2:15 in this case. And the reason why that's relevant is that sometimes you put a bids on and then you don't get called for 5 or 10 minutes. And so therefore, by the time you've got the call, you're 5 or 10 minutes down the line from your bid time. So I put on 45 minutes, and probably it's 5 minutes when I got the call, that meant when I got the job, I'd used up 5 minutes, that's 45 minutes already. So I did more like 50 minutes from when I first bid. I hope that makes sense, but I'm quite tired, so it doesn't make sense. I think putting on ETAs in most situations is helpful. I don't do it every time because of the speed you got to put bids on, but I think in some situations I do that. Right, it's been a very long day. Thank you very much for listening to my video. What have you learnt today?